Oh, good morning. Happy coffee talk. Man, it's been kind of a chaotic week, I'm not going to lie. I have wanted to get on coffee talk and chat with you both Monday and Tuesday, and honest to God, it just didn't happen. And you know what? The only reason I'm telling you that, you probably don't even know because when you listen to this, you're like, "What day is it?" Nobody really pays attention when you're listening to podcasts. But I'm telling you because I find when we commit to doing something. So, like, I commit to doing coffee talk 5 days a week. One, two, three, four, five. Well, it's Wednesday, and this is my first coffee talk of the week. So, am I a little frustrated? Yes, because the week just didn't go as planned. But my first opportunity to get back to it, I'm here. Even though it doesn't feel good to miss 2 days. I think we're at like 421 episodes now, and that idea has kept me going. Where the plan is Monday through Friday, but if it doesn't happen, I get back to it as soon as I can. So, anyways, that's not even the point of today's coffee talk. I just wanted to tell you that. Um, there's nothing that you can create consistently that doesn't take a little bit of that kind of resilience or like comeback. So, you may have intentions of going to the gym 5 days a week. You maybe have intentions of eating really well, and life is always going to happen. And so you just got to get right back to it at your very first opportunity. Um, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm only telling you about it so that you know, so you can do it for you too. Coffee this morning is in my Perry mug. Phineas and Ferb, Perry the Platypus. I am drinking Black Rifle coffee in my Perry the Platypus mug. And the best thing about this coffee was that I made it last night. Like, I didn't make the pot, I just staged the pot. So this morning when I woke up, I just pushed the button and boom, there it was. So before I dive into today's coffee talk message, I have to tell you that we've got something really cool coming up in fitme in a couple of weeks. So I want you to kind of like save the date, get excited. We are doing a spring clean out challenge. So if you feel like it's time both to clean out your nutrition, kind of get a body like, the concept of spring cleaning where all winter you've kind of been like trapped inside and you're like, ugh, I just need a fresh. That's what we're talking about. We're going to do it with our nutrition, our environment, like all the things, and just get a 5 day refresh. So anyways, just be on the lookout because that's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks. So spring clean out challenge. You're going to want to do it. It's doable. It's 5 days long. You'll love it. So today's coffee talk message is actually a build off of the one that I did a couple days ago about my rule of 10. So if you missed the rule of 10, go back and check it out. I'll put the link in the show notes. But the rule of 10 episode is basically the idea of doing 10 of something before you say it's too hard or that you can't do it, and getting that minimum in, and then you can build on it. And it makes hard tasks significantly easier, and it's just a good little mental hack. So anyways, go check out that episode. I'll put it in the show notes. But today I almost want to give you the reverse rule, because there's another similar mental trick, and it's in the same vibe, but it's almost the flip side. And I think you'll like this one too. I actually had this conversation with a client yesterday. I was coaching her and we were talking about her next couple of weeks, and I asked her, kind of what some of her goals are, and she was like, well, I'm going to cut out some of this junk that's been she's been moving. So past few weeks of moving. And I said, that sounds good. And then we started talking about this rule of 5. So you've got my 10, my rule of 10, but this is the rule of 5. And what this is that, say you open up your freezer, and inside that freezer is Thin Mint ice cream. And it just immediately triggers that spot in your brain where you're like, I need that ice cream. Plus, I'm pissed and I'm frustrated and I'm ready to have something for me. I'm going to have some ice cream. Even though I wasn't planning to have any treat today, I'm going to have an ice cream. The rule of 5 is that you close the freezer, you wait 5 minutes, and then if you still want it, then come back and give yourself a little bit of it, a portion. But it's the wait 5 minutes part that's the trick here. Because when we make those impulse moves on food, it's meeting like an impulsive need when we actually might have something else that we need. And when we take 5 minutes, we slow our brain down, we remove the impulse part, and we just kind of more fully address what we need. And so maybe you just needed a break. Maybe you're hungry. Maybe you're thirsty. Maybe you needed something else. Maybe you were just pissed in that moment. Maybe you actually don't want that at all. And now that you've had a chance to think about it, you're like, nope, that's not it. I'm excited about this thing later, and I do want that, and I'm looking forward to it. But giving yourself that 5 minutes of, let me think about it. And then after you've had 5 minutes, if you still want it, then maybe you have a little bit. But instead of allowing the impulse to drive, you're actually choosing. And what happens when we choose is we make different decisions, right? Like I think about it at the end of the day, if we just let impulse decide, sometimes we're like annoyed with ourselves. But when we proactively choose, we've considered it, we've thought about it, we've decided, yep, that's what I want to do. And when we're making a decision about food like that, that tends to relieve a lot of the guilt. It also probably, so with the rule of 10, most of the time it's a mental trick because you get started, it feels a lot easier than it was before, and then you're able to just keep going. It's a rare occasion that you would actually get started and then you quit. It could happen though, and you give yourself the permission to do that. This is similar. The whole point of it is that a lot of the time when taking 5 minutes, you're probably not going back for the thing. You give yourself enough time to think about it, and then you just move on. It was an impulse move anyway. So sometimes, though, you might go back for it and decide, you know what, I really did want that thing. So if this is kind of one of those rule of thumbs, and I like rules of thumb because just like when we're children and we have, songs and stories that teach us things and things that we can easily remember, about locking our, door, putting on our shoes, or being nice to people, or using manners. Like we learn all these things, and then we just have these rules of thumb that we learn. It helps us to do it. So as adults, we can also use rules of thumb for a lot of things, reminders, little boundaries, things that we've thought through maybe in the past, but that we need to return to. And we don't want to have to think it through in the moment, so we just use the rule of thumb. And that 5-minute rule of thumb is a good one. I've recently even given some quote mentorship advice to someone, and I said, hey, you are such a giver, a yes person, that I want you to take a new rule of thumb that you don't say yes to things until you had 72 hours to think about it. That's your new rule of thumb. Try that, because you are willing to say yes and give and overextend yourself. And then it feels frustrating and bad. And if given the time, you might not make that decision. So this is a rule of 5. Give yourself 5 minutes. Not that you can't have Thin Mint ice cream, but let's choose to have it instead of have it be an impulse because you're tired or you're hungry or you're thirsty. You could have just had a regular snack, so you don't really need Thin Mint ice cream for breakfast or for right after lunch on a regular day. But you get to choose. And I think that's the takeaway, is little mental tricks, little rules of thumb can center us into making decisions in line with what we want. And when we do that frequently, we start to get different results. And so mental little tricks and rules of thumb, they're not dumb. We used to do that in the military all the time. I mean, we literally memorized and recited things to make it easier to do it. It's the definition of what we did. You memorize things and then you make processes that you don't negotiate with in the moment. You just do it because in times of stress or fatigue or whatever. You don't want to be figuring things out in those moments because you're not going to make solid decisions. So I want you to think about this rule of 5 and apply it in your day today. When that impulse kicks in, I want you to give yourself 5 minutes and then make a decision. Give yourself a little space. You deserve the space, and this little rule of thumb will help you to, more often than not, make a decision in line with what you actually want. And that's what I want for you. So thanks for plugging into Coffee Talk. I am so grateful to get to spend a few minutes with you most mornings. I say each morning, but sometimes life happens and you just come back and kick it right back where you were. So thanks again for plugging into Coffee Talk. If you haven't done so, subscribe to Coffee Talk on your favorite podcast platform. I'm on all of them: Spotify, iTunes, Downcast, all the good ones. And then if you're listening on the podcast and are not a part of our Facebook group, go to fitme free community. We are going to be doing that challenge in the free Facebook group. So if you are pumped about that spring clean out challenge, you're going to want to go there to be a part of this, because we will be putting all the information about how to sign up next week in that group. So go to Fit Me Free Community. You'll be able to stay in that group for as long as you want to work on diet-free and sustainable changes you can make in your real life. And we do daily accountability posts and inspiration, education, great stuff in there. So I hope to see you in there, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.